This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel today. And well, you know what? We got a goodie from Mark Spector, an interview with Darnell Nurse, of all people, who we know is going to be very important to what the Oilers do this season, as will all the other defensemen and the forwards and the goalies and the whole team. And that was kind of reflected in Darnell Nurse's message back to Spector. Depending on the question, it was team, 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 and of course what the team has to do. But one thing that I found very interesting in this article, based on what, Darnell Nurse can kind of offer the Oilers, as the title of the article on sportsnet.ca, if you want to go check it out, see how accurate I am in my opinion of it. Oilers Nurse embracing challenge of lead role with Clefbaum sideline. Written by Mark Spector on December 11th at 11:23 a.m. Just to date myself a little bit here. So, the thing is, Darnell Nurse is looking forward to finally doing what Darnell Nurse should have been doing all along. Okay, and that's how I summarize this article. Darnell Nurse is looking to improve the defensive side of his game, improve the goals against, improve everything so the team can start winning with the high caliber offense we have. And I'm not sitting here calling Nurse an idiot or sitting here calling Spec an idiot for the way he wrote it or anything here. It's just a massive facepalm on both sides. The absolute sheer kind of lack of basic understanding of what Oilers fans want out of Darnell Nurse from the perceived perspective of Darnell Nurse, and of course the writing of Mark Spector just absolutely astounds me in this article, because you look here in how this is written. So here's the thing, is there's a quote at the end of the article from Darnell Nurse where he goes on to say, shutdown guys are different now. Everyone thinks of the stereotypical shutdown guy from the 90s, early 2000s. They didn't cross the red line. I've watched every game. The games I am most effective is when I'm moving my feet. It's just not sitting back. It's closing on things quick and taking away time and space. In of itself, that's a good quote to hear from Darnell Nurse. He wants to use what he's good at to be even more effective at what he's bad at. Well, unfortunately, right, is now you have a guy that needs to be that top tier shutdown guy, but also that offensive guy, and he's not willing to fully commit to either role, and that's a scary situation for us as Oilers fans. But I guess that really depends on your opinion on Tyson Barrie and what the season holds for a guy like that. And why I say that is because if Darnell Nurse can have the pressure taken off of him offensively, which is obviously 100% what needs to happen if we're going to have Darnell Nurse eating 25 minutes every night like Clefbaum does when he's fully healthy, because we know that if Darnell Nurse plays too much offense, defense becomes second rate, and well, oh my goodness, back of the net, the goals go 5-on-5 and it's a disaster. So we can't afford to have that happening. So the key here is, of course, to deploy Tyson Barrie in the most effective manner possible to allow Darnell Nurse the tougher minutes in the right situation. And in the article, they did talk about Darnell Nurse being the guy to defend leads, Darnell Nurse this, Darnell Nurse that. Simply put, Darnell Nurse has to be more physical, and I like what he said. I like what he said in that quote I just referenced, in how it's closing on things quick and taking away time and space. That's the big part. When I talk about taking away time and space, or I hear someone talk about taking away time and space, that is the net front battles. That is making that quick play to outsmart the 2-on-1 attack. It's making that play in the corner, preventing the puck from going to the danger trapezoid or whatever that shaped triangle, whatever they're using as the danger zone in front of the net between the dots nowadays. That's what I'm talking about. Is, you know what, if you've got that, down and you always get, or 90% of the time, you get the right play out of that, you're going to be much better than what we've seen out of Darnell Nurse in the past 2 seasons, where it's been an absolute disaster when the puck gets down low and he's the man in front of the net or he's the man in the corner. How much of that, though, relies on Ethan Bear or whoever his defensive partner is? Yes, Tyson Barrie takes the offensive load off, good to go. Perfect. And hopefully the Oilers just spent a whole bunch of time on the power play early in the season and we were winning 8-3, 8-4, and we're good to go. But as the season wears on, things are going to tighten up, and that's guaranteed. So you have to figure out how to best deploy your defensemen. And the thing is, Darnell Nurse did heavily talk in this article too about the commitment to team defense. And that's top down is what it is made to sound. So that's from McDavid all the way down to Caleb Jones, all the way down to Tyler Benson if he makes the team. But you look at it, right, is if they can commit to playing that hard line defense where it's 200 feet for every player. It's not a, oh, I'm the winger, I must stay near the defensive blue line and I have to be around the net in the offensive zone. No, it's what can you do every single shift given the situation to go out there and change the game. And I like that Darnell Nurse is, of course, keeping the accountability on the team, because that's the other side too, is it's way, way too easy here as Oilers fans to say, well, it's all on Darnell Nurse's shoulders to shoulder the load of Oscar Klefbom being out of the lineup. But it's not, right? I've already broken it down in the first statement saying it's on Tyson Barrie to take the offensive load off, and then you've got to have a good partner for Nurse. I'm not saying Bear isn't, but you got to have somebody that's going to go out there and give you just exactly what you're getting out of Nurse when you're not getting it out of Nurse, right? So shut down defensive role, you need to know you're going to get that out of Bear if Nurse is caught or if Nurse makes a bad play. And instead of both of them making each other worse, they need to make each other better. And that was unfortunately the case last year, is if one broke down, the other broke down, or if one broke down, the other made a stupid play, something, and it always led to a high danger chance, it seemed. That was, I mean, not necessarily what every hockey data will tell you, but it's just the way it seemed watching the games night in, night out, is 90% of the terrible chances were against Bear and Nurse. But then all of a sudden, right, look at the plus minus on Oscar Klefbom this past season, and like how we don't crap on him for being a terrible defenseman. And I mean, Bear and Nurse were playing a majority of the time with McDavid and Draisaitl, and everybody craps on those guys. So where in this do we add anything together? And again, it's all about that team game, because the other side too is if you're playing tight enough defense with the team we've got, and this is the beautiful part about Darnell Nurse's quote there that I referenced a few moments ago, is the shutdown guys are different nowadays. They are more mobile. They are more able to activate. And that's the key, is if you have that right defensive partner for Bear, you have that right opportunity, I guess you could say, for Darnell Nurse, and he can step up. The guy does have the ability to make Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl look fantastic. Whether you've seen it in overtime 2 years ago, you've seen it last year when Oscar Klefbom was out, Darnell Nurse is a guy that can make that pretty pass and really set up a guy like Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl. It might help that they're really good buddies, all three of them, but you get where I'm going, is that is key to the Oilers getting something done. So Klefbom, yeah, you know what, maybe not so much a big loss if you can set the situation right. And a big part of that is a commitment from Darnell Nurse, but also a commitment from the rest of the team to lower goals against and get things going. But the problem is, right, Darnell Nurse, if he still thinks that he should be moving his feet as much as he can because that's what he's effective at, we may still have the same exact issues we had last year, is where he goes to move his feet too much and he gets caught. Because I'm going to tell you, if Darnell Nurse is speaking this way on the defensive side of the game, when Bear gets caught, Darnell Nurse is going to be a lot more effective. It's what he's saying he'll be. But again, is it one knee in the crease kicking Koskinen in the head in the playoffs? I don't know, right? And that's the thing, is here's what I'm getting really sick of, and I guess this is probably why I was very angry at the start of the video about this article, is I'm sick of the talk. I'm sick of hearing how it could be better, how it could be worse, how this, how that, why this, why that. Well, it could be, it might be. Screw that. I just want to play hockey, all right? And we are currently 32 days starting tomorrow away from the proposed date. I'm tired of hearing the players sorely talk about the playoffs, and I'm tired of hearing about the players talk about what they're going to do this season. I want to hear Tippett's priorities on December 23rd. I want to go through Christmas Eve and December 25th, Christmas Day, watching my Christmas movies, opening gifts, and then I want to get to hockey, obviously the World Juniors, and bang, training camp at the same time, and away we go January 13th. I am tired of the talk. That's why I'm frustrated by that article. You want the actual truth? There you go. You waited 10 minutes. I'm tired of the talk. It's time to show and prove. I'm tired of waiting to show and prove. Let's get this going. All right? Let's get it going. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. I am up on out of here.